So in this video, we're going to talk about search. Now, there are a number of different search tools within Dynamics 365 for Sales. They vary in degrees of simplicity and sophistication, and I'm going to cover the four main ones. So let's go into the system and cover off the first. So the first search tool I'm going to cover off is searching within a view. Now, you've also got various different record types that can be accessed from this left-hand menu. And for each of them, we've got this ability to filter by keyword. So that's a search capability. So if I wanted to search here, let's say I want to search Smith, I can just click on that and it'll search for Smith. So I'll get a Bob Smith, Jane Smith, John Smith, Jane Smith, and a Richard Boardman, which sounds odd, but if I look across and I can see it's actually Richard Boardman Smith Inc. So when we're searching here, it's searching on, I think, 8 out-of-the-box fields, 8 out-of-the-box contact fields. Now, you can change that in the back end, as obviously you're going to potentially tailor the system, configure it to your particular needs. There's some fields that you've added, some fields you don't need to search on, so you can tweak that in the back end. But it's basically searching on those fields. It's also worth saying this is a begins with search by default. When I type that in, it's got to begin with Smith. It's not going to pick up if Smith appears somewhere in the name. It's also worth saying that this is only searching on this particular view that I'm in. Now, I'm in an all contacts view, which is fine. So it is, in fact, searching for all contact records. But if I was in a different view, then it will only search on the records that are presented within that view. So if we've filtered it down, it's not going to display a record outside of those filters. As I say, it's a begins with search, but you have got the ability to use wildcard searches in order to do contain search. So it might be useful for us to say it contains Smith. I don't think it's going to make any difference in this particular case, but a wildcard search effectively is putting an asterisk in search in front of the search term. So I'm just going to do that for Smith, and again the same records come back. So that's searching within a view. From a personal standpoint, that is probably where I do the bulk of my searching. I find it quick, intuitive, easy to use. However, there's pros and cons to it. As I say, it's simple. You get the data and just the data you need from within the view. However, if you want to do more complex searches, perhaps you want to search for something that isn't indexed on this view, or you want to search by multiple criteria at the same time, not really the tool to do that. So let's go on to our next search, and this is probably the one that most people use, I guess largely because it's the most visible. So on the top part of the screen here, we've got a search bar. Now this is what's called the global search. And if I just click on it, first of all, what it will do is bring back any recent searches I've done and any recent records I've visited. Maybe I don't need to search for things at all because I've just been looking at that record. I can go directly back to it. There's also this line here that we're going to come back to later on called search for rows in a table using advanced filters. That has actually got some meaning that we'll talk about when we get to one of the later search types. Now, in terms of this, again, it's a begins with search. Again, we can use wildcard to make it a contained search. So I'm going to type in Smith, and when I do, you're going to see the big difference here. It's actually drawing back that we've got Smith Inc. account, we've got Smith involved, in name used in various opportunities, Smith used in contacts, we've got Smith used in leads. So this is the big difference on global search. It's still only searching on a certain number of records. So out of the box, I think it searches on 21 different record types. And it's 50 index fields, I think. Now you can change that. We can change the record types it searches on. We can change the fields it searches on. But effectively, it's looking across the system. It's not just looking in the record you're in. When we were searching on contacts before, we were just getting contacts back. Here, it's actually searching across the system. That can be quite useful if Mr. Smith has called in and I want to search for him. and suddenly we discover all sorts of things that Mr. Smith's involved with, then that data is presented to us quickly and easily. Now, though I've got the full table of results here, I've also got tabs. So if I just want to see the accounts that Smith is involved with or the opportunities, then I can see those here. You'll also see that we've got some filters appearing on the right hand side of the screen. So we can filter that down. Maybe you want to do it by potential customer or a range of estimated revenues, or filter it or sort it based on estimated close date. So we've got a number of different options there. Now, it's got the benefit that it is looking across the whole system, so that can be potentially useful. Again, it's still got the same limitations that we had with our view search, in that it's only searching on certain record types, it's only searching on certain fields, and we can't kind of create a combination of search terms in order to bring back data. So there's a certain amount of limitation to it. And also, I said, in comparison maybe to the view search, it's a little bit more complex. You're bringing back a lot of potentially superfluous data. If I'm doing a search, I kind of know what record type to look at, so it doesn't normally help me to bring back data from other record types. So that's our second search type. I say probably the most commonly used. Now, the other means of searching, and I'm going to go and do this within the opportunities record, and it's something that people do a lot less frequently, but it is quite a powerful and valid search approach. So I've got a view here called Open Opportunities, and I've got various columns of data appearing there. Now, what I can do within this is search using filters. So I'm going to the topic, I'm going to say filter by, and then when I do that, I've got these parameters that crop up. So I'm going to actually say contains, and then I can put in a value. So I actually want only opportunities with the word lead in them. So let's apply that, and that's filtered that down. Then I might say, actually, I want ones with revenue of more than £5,000. So if I click on that, then I can add another filter. It's not just limited to one. And let's say greater than 5,000. And actually, I only want ones that have been assigned a probability. So I can add another column to that and filter by, let's say, contains data. If we apply that, that filters that further. So actually, in that particular case, I have searched within a view, and I've been able to use multiple search criteria. So it's got the benefit of being quite a simple and intuitive way of searching, but it is quite a powerful search because it's using multiple criteria at the same time. So that's another way of searching the system. The final way, so just going back, stepping back into the pros and cons of that, as I say, it's simple. In terms of disadvantages of it, there's certain limitations. I mean, I can't say I want a topic that is, it's either got lead in it or new lead in it, or I might want a range of dates. I can't do that sort of thing. If I'm searching and I want a column of data, or I want to search on a field that isn't in that view, in order to do that, all I need to do is edit the columns. I can add columns from elsewhere within the opportunity record or related data. So it is quite powerful, but it's got its limitations. The most powerful search capability, and I'll go to contacts to show this, is edit filters. So you can see here I've got an area called edit filters. Now this appears on any of the views that I've got here. I've got access to from the side menu. I'll have this edit filters area. If I wanted to search on a record type that didn't appear in my side menu, and there'll be quite a few record types that don't, In order to get to that, then I'll go back to our global search and we refer back to this line at the bottom of C, search for rows in a table using advanced filters. And what it's allowing me to do is select the record I want to search on, and let's say I select contacts, and I go to that contacts area, and it presents me with this edit filters view. So basically it's the same if you start here, and it's the same if you have to search for rows in a table using the advanced filters capability of the global search. So let's show the power of this, because this is the most powerful search capability within Dynamics 365 for sales. Now, let me go to this and click on edit filters. Now, first thing, I'm in all contacts view. It's come back with no filters. If I was in a view that was pre-filtered, perhaps it's active contacts, then I'm going to see the filter criteria appear automatically here. If I want to get rid of them, I just click delete all filters and I start from a blank canvas. Don't worry, you are not wrecking the system. That's just temporarily allowing you to build the query you want to build. Now, the power of the advanced filters capabilities is that it allows you to construct really complex queries using multiple criteria. It allows you to build queries based on data held in a particular record, but also based on data held in related records. It enables you to do things like use OR statements. So I'm just going to walk you through quite a basic search using edit filters. So I'm on the contacts area at the moment, but let's say I wanted to find contacts, and you can bear in mind, sorry, I've got quite limited test data in the system, so there's only so much we can do here. But let's say I want people who are living in the city of Seattle, because I know I've got some data for that. So address one city, actually slow that down a little bit. When I click on that, it's allowing me to look at any field on the contact record. So you can see those fields there, and I have selected address one city. So I'm happy with that. It's allowing me to have an operator. I've got various different options there. I'm going to say that equals, and then I'm going to put in Seattle. Now we've got even more power in that I can add more rows. So I might want to say they've got an email address, and that contains data. And I only want contacts with a status of active. So jump to status equals active. So I've got 3 search terms there effectively. They're based in Seattle, they have an email address, and they're active in our system. I can apply that, and then it filters down my data. So quite a lot of power there. Now I've also got the ability to incorporate what's termed OR searches. So if I go to edit filters, I could say, right, well, I want people that are in Seattle or Redmond. As you can't live in both places simultaneously, I'm going to need to turn that into an OR statement. So let me add another row, address one city, and I'm going to say equals Redmond. Now I'll run this for you. At the moment, as I've done that, it's going to bring back no data because they're mutually exclusive. So I've got to group those two as OR records. In order to do that, I just tick the 2 records there, click on either of the 3 dots at the end of the row, make it into a group, change the criteria there to OR, apply that, and it has increased the number of records it brings back. If I want to double check that I'm bringing back the correct data, then I could go to edit columns, I could add column, and I could add that address one city, close that out, apply it, and there we go. I've only got records with city address of Redmond and Seattle. So that's all worked fine. Now, even more powerfully, and I know I'm just touching the surface of this, this is a really, really powerful tool. And I've done a whole series on Advanced Find. and I'll include links to that below. Also, I have to say to you that there are two versions of Advanced Find. The version I'm showing, which is the current modern version, there is a legacy version of Advanced Find, and some administrators have still got that turned on. The principles are exactly the same, but the interface is quite different. Again, we've done a series on the legacy version as well, and I'll provide links to that below. But what I can also do here is query based on related records. So actually, I won't just want this group, but I want to refine it down a bit, because I only want people who work for organizations that got more than 5,000 employees. So I go edit filters, again, add a line to that. And then I've got this entry here, it says add from a related entity. Add from a related record is probably another way of stating it. It's asking me to choose what that related record is. And then I've got a list of related record, which is a long one. I've got one where the first batch are effectively parent records. And then I've got a long list of child records below. So we've got a lot of options to choose from there, but I'm just going to choose, as I say, the company that these individuals work for. And we said number of employees is greater than 5,000. Apply that now. And that's filtered that data down further. So really, really powerful tool. You can bring out pretty much any data out of the system that you want using Advanced Find. As I say, it is the most powerful, but for some users, it can seem quite daunting. There is certainly a little bit of a learning curve in terms of being able to use it, and a modest learning curve in terms of being able to use it really, really well. Those are the 4 different types of search within Microsoft Dynamics 365 for sales. I think typically you'll probably want to use all of them once you get familiar with them, depending on your particular need at that moment in time. Anyway, hopefully that helps with search, and thank you very much for your time today, and hopefully see you again soon.